Detours. Brought to you by Sports and Spokes, the magazine for wheelchair sports and recreation. As a three-time Paralympic racer and a veteran of nearly 100 worldwide marathons, Jacob Heilveil has celebrated a life of physical fitness. In 2023, Heilveil launched the nonprofit Adaptive Sports for All. His commitment is to pay it forward, sharing his life experience and knowledge with others who are looking to lead more physically active lives. Welcome, Jake.
Hey, Bob. Good to see you.
Hey, Jake. It's been a long road, man. You've been around the circuit for a long time, and here you are. You're still out there wheeling, but you're also doing really good things. Tell me a little bit about the nonprofit that you've started and what it is that you're hoping to accomplish. Give me your mission statement.
Well, I mean, in Colorado, there's not much of a wheelchair racing active participant in the when I was getting into. So I decided to get something started with folks who slowly get involved with activities, wheelchair racing. Try to get people out there doing some more races. So when I did border races, they actually a lot of outside state folks. So I say, well, how come there aren't a lot of local racers? So, that's when I decided to have, get involved and get the participants out and get the program up and running.
Yeah, Jake, I noticed that, and I know you do too, that it's been a tough road for physical fitness, especially in the adaptive sports world. The motivation seems to be waning a little bit and is starting to pick back up. But also the other part of the equation is it's really hard to get started and know where to get started and how to get equipment because it's so expensive. So this is part of what it is that you bring to the table.
That's correct. Yeah. So, since I've been around for the industry for a long time, and I understand the frustration what people get into. It's very uncomfortable, and finding the right equipment for the right athlete is very challenging. And, I kind of recognize that throughout the years that I've been through. So I've been in this industry almost 40 some years now. So, I can pinpoint a lot of it too, So right now, what I look for is people just want to get into racing chair, something that it will fit them nicely and then feel comfortable in them, So, it's very uncomfortable having kneeling position at all time. People, you should go that route all the time, But I said, well, if you get it comfortable, you start to learn to push the chair a little better, So once you start pushing, you would have more enjoyable experience.
Well, and this is where you come in because there's a lot of building blocks to this. You can't just, you as the person, who's helping out, you have to know and even try to understand what the other person is capable of. So you get a hold of a young guy, 22, 23, 25 years old. Well, that might be a potential Paralympian, but you get somebody else who maybe they're in their 40s. They just want to get fit. They want to ride a hand cycle. Part of your job is to recognize and identify what they're capable of doing.
Yeah, of course. So, you talk to the person, right? And figure out, hey, how's your flexibility? Are you comfortable sitting with the kneeling, or do you feel more comfortable in having legs forward? Or do you like to sit higher, sit lower, sit deeper? Is your arms big enough, or is your torso is big enough? So yeah, you should recognize that for individuals. So that's why, you can recognize that way. You can fit and then look for the chairs that will be more appropriate for the individuals.
I remember reading something that Teresa Skinner up there in Spokane, Washington had to say, pretty famous PT up there who's done a lot with the programs up in the Washington State area about how sometimes the parents would bring kids to these practices kicking and screaming and yelling, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And then they get there and they love it. Have you experienced something like this where you've had these really maybe apprehensive kids and they come to you and, the parents say, come on, please help us out, get our kid going. And you see a light in their eye when they get going?
Well, I never really come across a lot of kids like that in that situation. A lot of time I just have folks just trying it and they love it and then going into it, So you just give them a little guidance, It's hey, just push around the block, and if you feel good, go around 2 blocks and things like that. But I run into a lot of parents where they're more like reluctant to have the kids get in this wheelchair sports. But once they get in there, they will have more flexibility, more mobility, and they're able to do more stuff.
That's really interesting. Why is it that you think that the parents are reluctant or hesitant?
I think part of it is they just want to protect the kids. I think they want to have, that loving supporter, but it was like too much of a caring supporter. They don't want to let the kids to go and explore. For example, go down the hill, going too fast or whatever. That the parental instinct, like protective. And I do that with my kids too, so it's the same concept, like, oh, don't go riding the motorcycle or don't go riding the bicycle too fast or slow down. You have that parental instincts. I think that's what they bring into it, so I get it. I understand. But if you let the kids explore a little bit, they have more ability to like enjoying themselves. So
We'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsor, Sports and Spokes Magazine. For nearly 50 years, they've produced stories on iconic athletes performing at the top of their game, given generational coverage of sports dating back to the 1970s, and they've shown the way with exciting and timeless magazine cover shots. To stay on top of all the latest news from the world of high-performance adaptive sports, go to sportsandspokes.com. Sports and Spokes, the magazine for wheelchair sports and recreation. I notice, and I know you do too, when you look online, you see so many hand cycles for sale. It's there's just such an abundance. You see so many people who, unfortunately, they get steered in a direction where, first time right out of the blocks, they jump right into a $25,000 carbon fiber bike, a lay down bike. And it's sort of like the equivalent would be, taking your driver's test in a Ferrari. I mean, it just doesn't work. So would you say that part of your responsibility when it comes to helping steer or guide people into equipment is to get them into the right equipment that fits them and their needs?
what they're gonna figure out. I mean, my program is providing that service to like try different things. You don't have to spend fortunes to get like top of the line equipment to get into sport because they might not even like it. So they spend all this money for, um, you know, wheelchair racers and carbon bikes and things like that, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, down the line they're barely using it because I don't know what their reasons were. Either it's too much work or too much training, or they feel uncomfortable or certain things. So I just have like all these used equipment throughout the friends and they retired racers and say, hey, look, what are you doing with your racers? Let's get the thing up and running and let me service it. And Barry's been very supportive with the Eagle Sports. We had almost 9 chairs at the one time and went to the shop and we got all that, put that together, put the new tires in, new wheels in, just get all these used equipments available. So, I mean, those are great equipments. People can just try. And once they figure out if they like it and they go to the next step, you get a custom fit and you get reorder from get a grants from other organizations that provide services for the kids and adults. And then once they get into it, then they progress that way.
Yeah, and just to go ahead and qualify that, what you were talking about, Barry Ewing with the Eagle Sports Chairs. Barry's been around our industry and our sports world for just an eon. I raced for him back in the '80s. He's just been integral. Is it important to have a partnership when you venture into a project like what you're involved with somebody who's really knowledgeable? I mean, it's an obvious question. Obviously, the answer is yes, but Barry's been a good partnership for you.
Yeah. So Barry and I had a new discussion over basketball tournament one a couple of years ago, and said, "Hey, Barry, what about why it's not working with a lot of wheelchair racing?" And he and I kind of discussed about few different, discussion about, well, we don't have equipments. Equipments are expensive. People want the high end. So I said, what if we, get together and to see if we can get together some of the old equipment and refurbish it, and then let them people try it. And then he and I discussed about different things, and like, well, I can't afford $5,000-$6,000 equipment, try just to test it, So he and I like discussed like different approach about. So one of them was like, "Hey, what if I start a nonprofit?" It's like, "Well, Jake, that's a lot of work. The paperwork is, it can be very challenging and stuff." It's like, well, if we can take equipment out of the equation and then start pushing it, and then paperwork come through later. You know what I mean? So
For
I feel like
sure.
the nonprofit organization was I didn't even know about how challenging getting into paperwork and all that stuff. So board members, grants, and budgets, and just lot of logistics. Very challenging.
Well, through your nonprofit, Adaptive Sports for All, once again for everybody who's looking for a great nonprofit to check in with, um, part of the experience that you bring to the table or the knowledge is an application for grants because this equipment is so prohibitively expensive. You can guide some of the potential kids, athletes who want to get involved into the sports world, into the getting them equipment through the grants.
That's correct. So I have like a variety of equipments from Indicator to Sunrise and Eagle Sports, and some of the old chairs from all over the place. They come to my program and try different things and feel they get comfortable with. I loan them out for like a month and 2 months, and if they need some help with adjustments, I go out and help meet with them, go out ride with them, give some few pointers. Once they feel comfortable, then they can, get their own equipment, and I help them measure them and fit them, and then they can just go out for rider grants. So there's a lot of grants available for a lot of individuals, and they can pursue whatever sports they want to get into. So basketball, tennis, I mean, you name it. There's endless.
Well, and I noticed one of the sports that you particularly focus on is pickleball as well,
Yeah, there we
and you seem to
go.
you seem to enjoy it yourself.
Well, that's fun sports. It's like a couple of years ago, since I'm at the YMCA of Northern Colorado, and people would come up to me, "Hey, you ever heard about pickleball?" I was like, "Yeah, I heard of it." And it's like, there's a chair division for it too. They have rules and all that stuff. Like, you should play. It's like, wow, another equipment. Oh, well, I don't know if I have, for another equipment. Yeah, I'm tapped out on different sports, and, I'm getting old, and what do you do? So I was like, well, I waited, like, I had like 6 months of hesitation. And once I was like, I talked to Barry and said, "Hey, Barry, I think about doing pickleball. What do you think?" So there's a lot of sports chairs that are available that you can, play with. And there, I came up with a pickleball chair with the Eagle Sports for the first one. And we tried it, and it's like, it's like, well, I noticed with the videos and, people plays differently. And I just kind of throw out and say, "Hey, Barry, what if you would change the whole thing around and try to like reinvent a sports chair?" So like, he built me a chair. I loved it. One on one, I started playing with the pickleball in local with YMCA, and my daughters got into it. We all play with the community. It's a really fun sport. You don't have to be very athletic, for now, and you can because we're covering less of a court, right? And then and pretty much you can play with a lot of pretty much anybody. Doesn't matter your age, your abilities. You're not covering a lot of space at this point. So I mean, I love it because you can play with anybody. You can play with the community, you can play with the family members. My daughters loved it, and now they're like excelling a lot faster than I am. So because it's different rules, right? That applies for pickleball. We don't have the lateral um movements as like a able-body does, but it's still fun because you don't have to cover as much court space. I'm surprised you haven't tried it yet on your own because it's happening all over, outdoors, gyms. Now there's a tournaments, and it's just a lot of fun time. And I was like, maybe I can do something with the adaptive sports because racing, it's been around. Pickleball just started, everything in between, right? So I was like, that's a kind of perfect marriage. That's what I think.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Jake, I just want to tell you that I've always admired you. You do really good things. You've always kept up doing good things. And, I just want to, just once again, pump your product here, adaptivesportsforall.com or .org, excuse me. And we'll definitely put that up as a graphic. And I just want to thank you for continuing to do good things. And it was really great to hear your insights today.
No, I appreciate that having me on this because I think it's really important to have, it's not just that people with disability or physical in need, right? I mean, it's really good mental health, even just physical health too, just go out and being active, being healthy and trying to get involved with the community and, being someone that, you can be somebody, you doesn't have to be, I don't know, a world-class athlete. You can be just anybody just having fun playing any sports. So I think it's really good to have everybody get involved with communities and, it's a good awareness, like what you're doing with the podcast. I mean, I've seen with the Scott, and he's doing, small podcasts here and there and just getting the words out, just live life, just have fun, it doesn't matter at what level.
Couldn't agree more. AdaptiveSportsForAll.org. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Bob. Always good to see you. See you on the road, Paralympic playing pickleball.
No doubt.